You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Opeyemi Agbaje. On this edition, we focus on the education sector in Lagos State. How has it fared? What is being done to reform the sector? What are the achievements recorded? I have with me the main policy driver for the sector in Lagos State to discuss these and other issues. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and we're talking education. And my guest is the Honorable Commissioner for Education in Lagos State. She's an educationist herself, holds a degree in history with a Master's of Philosophy in the same subject, and she also qualified as a lawyer. Today, she's the Commissioner for Education. She's been in that position since 2011. And together we will review the state of the sector, the initiatives of the ministry and the administration, and see what outcomes have been recorded in the education sector. It's my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Olayinka Oladujoye, Lagos State Commissioner for Education.
Thank you, Mr. Agbaje, for having me here this morning.
You're welcome to the Policy Council.
Thank you.
Let's start by understanding what are your objectives? What's your strategy first? What are you trying to achieve in education in Lagos State?
Succinctly, qualitative education in Lagos State.
Okay.
The only thing you can do for generation today, generation coming, is to ensure that the quality of education is comparatively the same as you have it anywhere in the world. And that's what we're aspiring to do in Lagos State. To have education that is worth its name, to give certificates that is worth the paper they're written on, to give certificates that when you go anywhere in the country, say, oh, from that university or from that school, I can assure you that it's worth the qualification that has been inscribed on them.
So the emphasis is on quality.
Quality.
Okay. Let's take it maybe sector by sector. Let me start from infrastructure. I know the challenges you face. I know that. Let me ask, how many schools do we have in Lagos State, primary and secondary?
In Lagos State today, we have 1,004 primary schools. We have 669 secondary schools. We have 5 tertiary institutions, and we have 5 technical and vocational institutions as well. Okay, so this is
not a piece of cake. 1,004 primary schools, over 600.
That has nursery incorporated in them.
So evidently, and from what we can see, sometimes in some schools, there's a problem with infrastructure. How are you tackling that?
By taking them as they present themselves. Because, so we have a policy by which we look at the ones that we can really say needs most intervention. We start with those ones. We are intervening. It's an ongoing process, and we have the support of government. And thank God for that, because on a monthly basis, His Excellency meets with us. First Wednesday of every month, we meet with him.
That's the education sector
and we
managers.
call ourselves the education family.
Okay.
We meet with him, and it's an opportunity for us.
Every month?
Every month. First Wednesday of every month. It's an opportunity for us to key into his vision.
So you have something called, I saw in some of the things I read, a special committee for rehabilitation of public schools. How many schools have they rehabilitated?
Very many. What we're doing consciously now is to allow them to build schools and allow the project department in the ministry to interfere or do rehabilitation of schools. And thank God we have a facility management now in place. So we are dividing infrastructural development in that way, so that there'll be accountability, and then there'll be a process. Scripts will construct new schools. The project ministry will do intervention in terms of rehabilitation and renovation, and the facility manager does. So at the end of the day, we have a holistic approach
strategy.
To it in the state.
And I must admit, from the perspective of somebody who looks, yes, I drive past many schools these days, and maybe for some years now, in which you see evidence that, okay, they've just rehabilitated these buildings and all of that. Okay, let's talk very quickly about the structure for management of the sector? You mentioned that your education family meets with the governor.
Yes.
One of my concerns as somebody from the private sector is, do we even have the right managerial structures? I know you have SUBEB, you have you've divided, you have these education districts. Are you satisfied both at the primary, at the secondary level, and for the technical schools with the management structures you've put in place? Are they geared towards sustainable management of the sector, in your view?
Yes, fantastically, and I can say, beat my chest that they're doing well.
Okay.
First of all, at the helm of the affair is my humble self, and then I have a permanent secretary working with me. Then, at the secondary school level, we have 6 districts, each being managed by the general permanent secretary. And we've asked them to take ownership of their districts, which they have done. So to a large extent, there's an element of decentralization from that point of view. And within the district, we have directors, we have every other person working with the district. So the district only reports to me, so it makes it easier from that point of view. And at the primary school level, we have the chairman of a SUBEB, and then with her, we have a board secretary. We have board members working with her. And in addition, we have local government education authorities secretaries working with her. And even within the local government councils, we have education secretaries. So you can see that from that point of view, there is extensive interaction and interfacing. And then at the technical and vocational, we have an executive secretary who has board members, even though they are not daily board members, they are part-time board members. But and then we have governors, special advisors on technical education, on TV and others. So we have all this body, and the structure I can say to you is fantastic. In addition, we have a teachers employment establishment and pensions office, TEPO. So these are the group of people that meet with His Excellency on a monthly basis.
Okay, let's take a very short time out. I'm talking to Mrs. Olayinka Oladunjoye, Barrister Olayinka Oladunjoye, Lagos State Commissioner for Education. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and I'm still speaking with the Lagos State Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Oladunjoye. We were talking as we closed about the management structures for education in Lagos State. And one element that I found or I read about that has just been introduced is the school-based management committees. What's that about? And what are you trying to achieve there?
Well, the School-Based Management Committee is an initiative of the federal government. They mandated all states of the federation to put it in place. Interestingly, in Lagos State, we have a very robust and proactive School-Based Management Committee. 2-3 days ago, I went for the launching of their policy documents, their flyers, and we've been lucky in Lagos State to have a Spain joining us and putting in place a very robust SBMCs. So we have over 4,000 members in this school. In fact, about 40,000 members in the School-Based Management Committee. What they do is to partner with the ministry or they partner with the schools education SUBEB to join the schools in ensuring that things are done properly. First of all, they come in on daily basis to tell the principals and see if she has problems and tell her about what, or him or her, about what they see in the community that would affect the school adversely or positively.
Who are the constituencies or stakeholder groups that constitute this?
Anybody that is interested, just apply and then you become a volunteer. We have all segments of the society forming school-based management committees, and they've been happy doing it, and we've been happy with them. So now that we launched the policy document for them, the flyers, the pamphlets, they now have a means of, at least the legal instruments, in quotes, to work with. They can be guided, but so some of them can be excessive, you know, trying to take over the school in totality. But those policy documents will now be a guide for them.
Let's talk about curriculum. I know there's been some revisions at the national level to curriculum. To what extent have we reviewed, modernized, and domesticated curriculum in Lagos State?
Yes, to a very large extent. First of all, you can use indigenous languages. It's now compulsory. So you have a choice of Yoruba, Hausa or Igbo as a choice in our schools. Then they are trying to introduce entrepreneurship, which is something that is wonderful. But my own challenge is that most states of the Federation, and Lagos State as an exception, don't have the means capacity in terms of teachers. To drive this curriculum. But we're looking at it. We are thinking out of the box in Lagos State. We're thinking to see that, okay, if this teacher can teach civics, he can teach this subject. If you can teach biology, you can. So we're trying to harmonize. We know what we need in Lagos State, and we're trying to see how we can use what we have to get what we want.
Okay. There was a time at which I heard that your ministry was going to introduce the teaching of Mandarin, Chinese language, into education in Lagos State. Is that still on? And why did you think about that?
Well, this state is pragmatic. The governor and I were talking one day, and we're saying we have difficulties in people looking at our contracts for us. We deal with Chinese governments, we deal with Chinese contractors. But sometimes when we see the policy document, they'll be the one that will interpret it. So whether they are doing it right or not, we don't even know. So I told him, I said, okay, I'm going to look at Mandarin. He said, go ahead. So I had his buy-in to do it, but it was something that we both agreed upon.
Okay.
And we're still working on it in Lagos State. We're trying to see if by the next session, I have an alliance with the Chinese ambassador in Lagos State. They're trying to get me teachers that will do it for us. And we have Nigerians too, who are versatile in Chinese language. My take is that it is not compulsory. I just think that if it's an additional opportunity, if you go to most of the Southeastern Asian countries, in fact, not even the southern ones, they speak an element of Mandarin. With Mandarin language, you can get by. And we know that even in America, all over the world, people are speaking Chinese language. And Chinese is the next world power, as far as we can see. I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but at least today. So we're trying to introduce it. And we're not making it examinable. It's a choice. They are free to. And I'm going to even have the backing of the parents. Do you want your child to study it? If you don't have to. But if you really want them to, then you can come on board. So we're working on it, and we will do it. But it's not examinable. And it's very, very optional.
I absolutely think that those who I had some criticisms on radio, and I thought that the people didn't know what they were talking about. In the global world in which we are going into, it can only be a complementary competence and an advantage. Anyone who can speak.
Well, it's perception. People don't. It depends on how you perceive issues, really. So I don't blame those who don't think we should do it. I think they have the right to say we shouldn't. But once we have indigenous languages, we have French, we have English. I think Chinese just complements the whole thing.
Okay, let's take another time out. I'm having this conversation on policy and administration of education in Lagos State. We'll be right back.
Okay. Hey, welcome my son.
We are given free textbooks in our school today.
Hey, I thank God. I know with this Lagos State government free education, my son will end up being a lawyer or medical doctor. He can even become an educated automobile engineer. My son tell me, say, their school don't get beautiful building with a better chair and desk, new library, computer for everywhere, laboratory today. My people, all these things our children they enjoy today. Now our tax money do more. They pay my tax.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's the Policy Council, and I'm talking education in Lagos State. Let's talk about one of probably the underlying philosophical foundation of education in the southwest part of Nigeria, free education. Are you implementing that policy? To what extent are you doing so? And what do you think are the challenges with free education in Lagos State?
Thank you very much. We're implementing it to the letters. First of all, it's part of the manifesto of our party. And we don't plan to deviate from it. The extent of free education in Lagos State, after all, infrastructure are there, free for usage. We provide books in core subjects for the students. We pay for WAEC fees. And then we had a core project. It's a World Bank project that is meant to intervene in education. So that ECHO project money has been used to give ownership of schools to the principals. First of all, they can do quick fix fixes in their schools. On a monthly basis, principals are giving this money to take care of their schools, and they've been happy doing it because it's giving them ownership, and then they've been responsible because they can be accountable. But the challenges are there, like every other thing that is free. We can only do the best within the resources that we have, and then even the best that we're doing, I think it's giving us some mileage. So I think the challenges, like every other thing, are there, but we are working around it.
Let's talk about performance, outcomes. Since this administration, let's say Babatude Fashola administration in 2007, are you satisfied with the outcomes you are getting in terms of performance of students? Let's take a benchmark in WAEC, for instance, or in other examinations conducted at the state. Do you think that all your initiatives are manifesting in better results?
But since I came on board, I decided that we need to do some reforms. First of all, I introduced primary examination. Now, to get into a JSS1, you must write an examination. Then secondly, we want them to know that it is compulsory for them to write exam. And then now you must have a score of 50% in mathematics, 50% in English, and